string that can be created from this alphabet. Okay, our question is like that. Okay, so this kind of
So see here. So after that, the SRS document usually contains all the user requirements in structured through informal form. So basically, it is containing of all the requirements, all the user requirements in structured form. Structured form. Okay. So among all the documents produced during a software development life cycle, writing the SRS document is probably the toughest because it contains all the information and you need to gather the information from many areas. Okay? So one reason behind this difficulty is that the SRS document is expected to cater to the needs of a wide variety of audience. Different people need the SRS document for for very different purposes. Some of the important categories of users of the SRS document and their needs are like, so there can be many needs. Okay, so see here. In aim of requirement specification is to systematically organize the requirements arrived during the requirement analysis and documents requirements properly. So the SRS document is useful in various contexts. We know that it is very useful because statements of user needs, contract document, reference document, definition for implementation, all these things should be enclosed in an SRS document. Okay, so actually software requirement specification is from view of a contract document. If you see that document is a reference document. Okay? So SRS document is a contract between the development team and the customer. That means whenever you are doing any kind of software, you are developing any kind of software demanded by some customer, what will happen? First, what will happen? You need to build a contract first, and based on that contract, you need to develop the system. Like, right? So whenever first the developer team is there and the customer team is there, so customer is specifying something, that is what the functionalities that is required by the customer is explaining everything to the development team, and development team is what actually noting out all the points whatever the customer is requiring, that points actually is noted down by the development team. So that noting is done in a document called SRS document. So once the document is approved by the customer, any subsequent controversies are settled by referring the SRS document. So once a customer agrees to the SRS document, okay, development team starts to develop the product according to the requirements recorded in the SRS document. Okay, that means whenever whatever while signing the contract, whatever is written, okay, in the SRS document, and if that customer agrees, that is, suppose agreement is what it is like a whenever the customer is signing to that agreement, that means whatever points you have written, whatever the customer has demanded to the development team, that thing, suppose you have noted down in a document, and the customer is signing in that document, that means the customer is agreeing that whatever he has said, it is exactly matching with the document. So that's why customer signs in that document, and then development team starts developing from that document. They map the functionalities of the software with that document, because if after some time, after developing the software in the middle portion, if the customer is saying that I don't want that product, I want the product in that way, then that kind of problems should not occur, because every time whenever you are developing something, it requires some cost, so you cannot bear any loss from your company. That's why every time whenever you are doing any kind of developing any kind of software, it should match the SRS document. That is actually a kind of contract which is given to the client, and as well as signed by the client and given by the development team. After that, development team starts to develop the product according to the requirements recorded in the SRS document. So the final product will be acceptable to the customer as long as as long as it satisfies all the requirements recorded in the SRS document. Okay. So see here, what is SRS document? SRS document is also known as black box specification. Okay. Why it is called black box? So if you see that black box means what? Black means it absorbs all the light and it does not reflect anything. So whenever you are doing any kind of black box, suppose you are drawing a box and which is black in color. Okay. Suppose you are drawing any box, okay, which is black in color. So will you be able to see what is inside in the box? Okay, what is present inside the box? You cannot be able to see because it is a black box. Software engineering you will be hearing the term black box view. Black box view means what? Whatever functionalities or specifications are there inside the box, as it is black in color, that means it is not transparent. Transparent means actually it is not visible to the users. Whatever you are doing, it is actually limited to that box only. It is not visible to the users or customers. So that's why it is called black box view. And software requirement specification is also known as black box specification. Because why it is called black box? Because you know that you are giving input, that means you are giving some kind of data as input and you are getting back the output. Okay, but how the output is generated, what functionalities it requires to generate the output, what procedures it requires to generate the output, that is unknown to you. Okay, so that's why we need this SRS document. Okay, that's why it is called black box specification, because everything is enclosed and it is not shown to the user. Okay, so that's why see the system is considered as a black box whose internal details are not, and only it is visible external, that is input and output is visible. External behavior is documented. Okay, so that's why SRS document is also known as black box specification. So SRS document concentrates on what needs to be done. Okay? So that's why it is about knowing that what are the functionalities that actually needs to be done. Carefully avoids the solution how to do, that is how to do solution aspects, and the SRS document serves as a contract between the development team and the customer. So it should be carefully written, because whatever you are writing, if it is not matching with the customer's requirements, then the customer will not sign it, and if customer will deny, then your whole work will be in vain, because you are giving some time, you are giving your effort to develop that document. So it should be carefully written. Okay, so that's why the goal. So there are certain service document needs. Okay, so first one is actually the user, customer and marketing personnel. Okay, so user, customer and marketing personnel. Let's just a second, students. So user, customer, and personal requirement. User, customer and marketing personnel. So what is it? Actually, we know that the goal of this set of audience is referring to the SRS document is to ensure that the system as described will meet their needs. Okay, so remember that the customer may not be the user of the software. It may happen that the customer is the maybe he's the CEO of the company and he is not using that software. Like in case of TCS, and you can see that TCS, and we are the user. We are using the TCS, and but the one who is the CEO of this company, he is not using the TCS. So that's why it may happen that the customer itself is not actually using that software. That is, customer is not the user of the software. Okay, so that's why. But actually, someone employed or designated by the user. So for generic products, the marketing personnel needs to understand the requirements that they can explain to the customers. Okay, next one is the software developers. Okay, software developers. So who are software developers? The software developers are the ones who are developing that particular software. So the software developers refer to the SRS document to make sure that they are developing exactly what is required by the customer. Okay, the software developer cannot manipulate anything. Whatever the customer is requiring, that only the software developer is doing. He is not allowed to do any kind of manipulation over the software requirement specification document. Okay, next one is test engineer. Okay, test engineer. So test engineer, actually their goal is to ensure that the requirements are understandable from a functionality point of view, so that they can test the software and validate its working. They need that the functionality be clearly described and the input and output data identified precisely. Okay, next is user documentation writers. User documentation writers. Okay, user documentation writers. So they are actually, their goal is reading the software requirement specification document is to ensure that they understand the features of the product well enough to be able to write the user's manuals. Okay, next one is project managers. You know, they are actually managing the overall project. So what the functionality of project manager in the SRS document? So they actually want to ensure that they can estimate the cost of the project easily by referring to the SRS document, and that it contains all the information required to the plan of the project. Okay, so project managers are actually doing this thing. Okay, they are actually estimating the cost required to develop that software, how much cost, how much effort, how much time it should require. So everything actually is calculated by the project manager. Okay, next one is the maintenance engineer. So maintenance engineer are actually, what is their work? So the SRS document helps the maintenance engineers to understand the functionalities of the system. So a clear knowledge of the functionalities can help them to understand the design and code. So also we know that a proper understanding of the customer requirements would enable them to determine what modifications of the software of the system functionalities would be needed for a specific purpose. Okay, so we know that many software engineers in a project consider SRS document as a reference document. However, it is often more appropriate to think of the SRS document as the documentation of a contract between the development team and the customer. Okay, so in fact, the SRS document can be used to resolve any disagreements between the developers and the customers that may arise in the future. So the SRS can even be used as a legal document to settle disputes between the customers and the developers. And once the customer agrees to the SRS document, the development team proceeds to develop the product, ensuring that it conforms to all the requirements mentioned in the SRS document. Okay, next is, this is all about the needs of the SRS document. So next is, what are the properties of SRS document? Okay, so you should, while documenting any SRS document, you should remember the properties. Okay, and there are certain skills of developing a good SRS. Okay, so the SRS, the skill of writing a good software requirement specification document usually comes from the experience gained from writing SRS documents for many problems. However, the analyst should be aware of the desirable qualities that every good SRS document should process. Okay, so some of the identified desirable qualities of the SRS document are that it should be concise. Okay, concise means at the same time should not be ambiguous also. So what is the meaning of this concise and ambiguous? Actually, the SRS document, we know that should be concise, that is, it should have a limited length. Okay, and at the same time ambiguous and consistent and complete. Okay, so verbose and irrelevant descriptions reduce readability and also increase error error possibilities. And you know that whenever you are doing any software requirement specification document, error should not be there, because it will become a bad software SRS document in that case. Okay. So next one is, so that's why, see, it should specify what the system must do and not say how to do it, and it will be easy to change, and it should be well structured, and it should be consistent and complete. Okay, it should not vary every time, and it should be complete. Okay, so see here, that's why okay, so so next is, it should be traceable. Traceable means what? It should be possible to trace a software requirement to the design elements that implement it and vice versa. Similarly, it should be possible to trace a requirement to the code segments that implement it and the test cases and that test this requirement and vice versa. So actually traceability is important to verify the results of a phase with the previous phase to analyze the impact of a change. Okay, so basically it should be traceable. Next is, it should be verifiable also. What is the meaning of verifiable? Actually, all the requirements of the system as documented in the SRS document should be verifiable. This means that it should be possible to determine whether or not requirements have been made in implementation. Okay, so requirements such as the system should be user friendly and not verifiable. Should be user friendly and not verifiable. Okay, so on the other hand, when the name of a book is entered, the software should display the location of the book. Okay, if the book is available, it is verifiable. Okay, any feature of the required system that is not verifiable should be listed separately in the goals of the implementation section of the SRS document. Okay, so next one is, it is containing, so SRS document actually contains three important parts, that is functional requirements, non-functional requirements, and goals of implementation. Okay, so see here, one more point is missing, that is structured. Okay, SRS document should also be structured. That means it should have a well structured it should be a well structured document is easy to understand and modify. So the SRS document undergoes several revisions to cope up with the customer requirements. Actually, whenever you are developing any SRS document, it is not the final one. It goes several process of revisions. You are developing, as suppose you are a developer and you are developing all the points, you are writing all the points in the SRS document, then you will pass that document to your next higher authority, and that higher authority will again in turn pass that document to the next, that is suppose project manager. Then if project manager sees, and if project manager finds out that there is an error in the software document, then he will point out that error, and he will pass that error that is present in your document to the next level. In this way, it should follow several revisions. Okay, so often the customer requirements evolve over a period of time. Therefore, in order to make the modifications to the SRS document easy, it is important to make the document well structured. Okay, so that's why it is a well structured document. So this is about the goals of SRS document. So it is desirable to consider every system. Okay, so every performing a set of functions, each function Fi considers transforming a set of input data to corresponding output data. So you are giving a input, and there is a function Fi who is doing some kind of operations by taking the input, and it is actually generating the output as an output data form. Okay, so this is a functional requirement. So suppose F1 is a function which is called search book. That is, it is actually searching the book. Okay, so what input you need to give to the SRS document. So whenever you want to search the any kind of book, what you need to give, either you can give the book name or you can give the author name. Now if you are giving a book name, that is, suppose you want to search software engineering. Okay, so software engineering is a book name. Now, software engineering book has many authors. Like I am given you the instruction to follow Rajiv Mall. Some of the students also are also following Pressman. Okay, so it is having different authors. So book name is not actually the unique thing to give the input, because whenever you are suppose you want a book. Okay, you are giving, you want a software engineering book. Okay, to that book should be written by Rajiv Mall. Okay, now if you are giving the input as book name, then the output will be generated, but there it will contain many books. That is, it will contain Rajiv Mall, it will contain Pressman, and some other books it will also contain. So that's why if you strictly want Rajiv Mall, so for that you need to specify Rajiv Mall as the input. Okay, so that's why author name should be the input. Okay, and there the function is search book. Okay, within that function some kind of code should be written, and whenever you are searching the book, it will give the desired output. Okay, so details of the author's book and the locations of this book in the library, it will find it out the book details and will get the your demanded book. Okay, so what are functional requirements? So basically functional requirements describe a set of high level requirements. Each high level requirement takes in some data from the user and outputs some data to the user. So see here, this is actually a functional requirement. We are taking some input and in return we are generating that output. Okay, so each high level requirement might consist of a set of identifiable functions. So functional requirement, for each high level requirement, every function is described in terms of input dataset, output dataset, and processing required to obtain the output dataset from the input dataset. Okay, so this processing is actually the F1 function. Okay, so see here, this is all about the functional requirements. Now we are moving on to the non-functional requirements. So what are non-functional requirements? Characteristics of the system which cannot be expressed as functions are maintainability, portability, and usability. These three are the non-functional requirements. Okay, so non-functional requirements include reliability issues. Okay, performance issues. Reliability issues means whether whatever you are developing, suppose you are developing a software for fund transfer, you are transferring money from account A to account B. Okay, so that is actually a fund transfer software like Paytm, or you can say that Google GPay. Okay, everyone is phone pay, everyone is familiar with that software. Okay, so so it that kind of softwares are actually the main functionality of that kind of softwares is they should be reliable and secure. That means whenever you are transferring any amount, suppose if it is 1 rupee or 1,000 rupee, if you are transferring any amount from your account to suppose B's account, from A's account to B's account, that should be consistent. That means whenever you are transferring, it should not happen that after given the transaction, after doing the transaction, the 1,000 rupees is not credited, is not debited from A's account as well as it is not credited to B's account. It should not happen. Okay, it should be consistent. That means if it is debiting from A's account, it should always be credited to B's account. This should always be there. So that's why reliability is one of the most important factor. So reliability issues should not be there. Performance issues. Performance means if you are developing a software, then it should be fast. Okay, that means whenever you are transferring 1,000 rupees from A to B, that means it should take minimum amount of time. That means if it is taking 1 minute, then it can take, if it is taking 1 hour also, that is also allowed. But if you want to transfer immediately, suppose you have less amount of money in your account balance and you want to buy something, and if it is taking 4 days of time to transfer, then it will be very difficult. Okay, so that's why it should have minimum amount of time. So that's why how fast the system can produce results, so that it does not overload another system to which it supplies data. So this is also actually called, this is called the performance issues. Okay, and human computer issue interface issues should not be there, is there. and interface with other external systems, and security maintainability should also be there. Okay. So what are the hard non-functional requirements? That is hardware, what to be used, that should come. Operating system or DBMS to be used. Okay, what kind of operating system you are using, whether it is reliable or not, and what kind of software you are using that for manipulating the data. Actually, we are manipulating data, right? We are adding something, we are deleting something. These are actually data manipulations. So for that, what kind of system you are using, capabilities of input output devices, standard compliance, data representation by the interface system. So all these things are needed. Okay. So goals of implementation. Goals describe things that are desirable for of the system, but it would not be checked for compliance. For example, reliability issues and functionalities to be developed in future. So next is organization of the SRS document. So organization of the SRS document I will be discussing in the next class. So you are having my class from 1 to 2 again. So I will be discussing the organization of the SRS document because it will take a lot of time and I will not be able to complete that within this time because time is also less. So I will be starting this particular topic in the next class, that is from 1, and I will continue this concept. So as of now, students, do you have any doubt?
We will talk about final document. Okay, thank you so much.
Do you have any doubt, students? So students, we will again meet in our next class, that is from 1 p.m. Okay, and we will continue these concepts. And if you are having any doubt, then you can ask me in that class. So with this note, I am closing this session. So thank you, students, for attending today's class. Now you can leave.